So today, like the video said, I'm going to tell you guys, the Bluk fam, about my coming out story. And truth be told, it's I would say mine's a regular one, not by a long shot. So before I go into the beginning stuff, I'll go into the ground. I'll lay down the groundwork. Um, the whole me figuring myself out before that was kind of confusing because I didn't know for sure, but I just knew I wasn't interested in girls. Well, after a while, I knew I wasn't. So around my freshman year of high school, um, I started experimenting, more like learning. What I was doing that before that because this was around the time this was around the time when I found out my older brother was gay. Well, it's not I found out. I found his stuff. I knew he was gay, but then there were things that he had that made my curiosity about myself grow more. And in the sense of I knew I wasn't straight. I just knew I wasn't. I just knew something was up. So, I looked into it. And of course, my mother thought it was my fault for going to his stuff, thinking it opened a door that would have stayed closed otherwise. And I'm just like, sometimes you just have to tell, like, my mother's religious, and I'm over that religious mentality that Jesus can fix everything, unfortunately. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm the least, I'm not all that religious. Yes, I go to church with all that, but that does not mean anything for me. But anyway, yeah, I had church friends that were also like gay. And they introduced me to somebody that I came to, start talking to, which, we all met through church. Ain't that the funniest thing? It's funny, church are the ones trying to vilify all of us, but they're the ones with all the secrets, and they're the they're the nastiest and freakiest ones of us all. But anyway, um, I ran into my first crush in high school, which is how the whole thing started. Facebook was real big then, and I was in Facebook and MySpace at the time. And I'll never forget it. Me and my mother were having conversations about it beforehand. She was still like, real, I'm going to disown you if I find out about this, that, and the third. And, well, lo and behold, at that particular time, I just wasn't really trying to entertain that. And also, my father had moved back in the house. And me and him, I ain't never really been a fan of him, unfortunately, for many reasons, but that's for another day. So when I met somebody who was, well, at the time he was a real bad thought. I didn't know, but I had a friend, one of my close friends at the time. He knew of him and how he got around, and thank God he got to be, and gave me the tea beforehand, because I was really liking him, because we all met through JRCC, and we were all in ROTC through high school. I didn't stay all the way through, but that's where a lot of that stuff started happening. So, we flirted on Instagram, I mean MySpace and Facebook, for a long time. And when he showed interest, me being the naive person I was entertaining and not knowing beforehand that one of my homeboys had already messed with him, and he'd already given him and his other friend. And for the sake of, I'm not revealing names. I'm just gonna say Benny. We're gonna use the name Benny. So after I found out, I kept my distance from Benny. We were cool and all that, but Benny had a girlfriend who later became his baby mama, and it strained a lot of stuff, because I think she was still pregnant when we were still in school. Well, I think she had the baby right around his senior year and my sophomore year. But needless to say, I wasn't having it. And needless to say, I was still very much a virgin at the time. But um yeah, around my freshman year, my mom and them were going through my Facebook being nosy, which is why you never add your family to your social media. That's always a bad idea. We were at the house one night, and I think she just finished her classes. Anyway, she was going through it, and her and my dad were like sitting in the living room talking about something. I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't really care. I just knew that I really wasn't in the mood to talk to either one of them at the time because they were going through this whole crucifying the gays thing with me, and I wasn't having it. I just wasn't. I wasn't featuring either one of them at the time. So apparently, I had something on my Facebook along the lines of where I had sex ed or whatever, even though I haven't. I put that up there at the time because you never want to tell your friends and stuff that you ain't did this and you ain't did that. I grew out of that a long time ago, but I did. That was just up there, and that's what brought it about. They asked me, and I told them. Truth be told, I ain't gonna say I was a virgin. I done messed around a couple of times, just some oral stuff, but as far as full blown sex, I hadn't had. And she wondered, they wondered. It wasn't really a good time for me because they were like back in lovey-dovey stage, and all she wanted to do was whatever he told her to do, and I was over the both of them at the time. So I just shut myself out to the both of them for a long time, and I just didn't want to deal with them. It was really hard because we were always fussing about one thing or another. And you know how people do. First thing they do when they get mad is to throw the gay card at you. Like, okay, come up with something original. And that was that part. Then there was the second part of my coming out. When I say I went through two stages, I went through the stages of telling them. Then we went through our hell period, and lo and behold, I would say a year later. Um, yeah, a year later, my mom, threw my dad out the house finally, and they were, doing the whole separate thing. So we had to go visit whenever she wanted to go get missing. You can go to Greensboro, so we had to go to my grandmother's, which is where he was living at the time, which I hated. But I didn't really want to go with her majority of the time, so whatever. And this was around the time when I was coming out to a lot of my friends that I had met outside of, my hometown. And this is when I told one of my closest friends that I met when I had to go to school down in Lexington, North Carolina with my grandmother for a whole year because I was being real bad. I was real bad back when I was in elementary school. And I told him, he freaked. I told one of my best friends, he freaked at first, but he got over it. And it was hard. But I was happy because I found myself out. I figured myself out. And it helped. Especially when majority of my friends that I told the ones that came back, there were a lot of them that didn't. But karma's a bitch. I got over that though. Coming out for me was when I tell people my coming out story, they're looking like yours. You seem like you had it easy. Well, it's not. I just don't come from a sugarcoating family. I don't come from a BSing kind of stuff. I don't do that. Not any, well, I don't. And every time that I did, it ended up backfiring. Every time you act out of, every time you do something that goes against your values and stuff, it'll backfire. I'm telling you, and it did for me, especially with a recent life change that I've had to go through. I wasn't being myself, and it backfired, and I had to pay for it. And but it's getting better. I'm breathing and living just like you. new greenhorns and new little queerlings coming into the world. Gay, straight. I mean, not gay, straight. I mean, like, all races and colors. Of course, it's hard, but I need you guys to know nothing a person will say will ever validate you taking your life. You matter regardless of what anybody tells you. Bump all of that BS. I dealt with bullying and I dealt with being victimized all the time. I never made myself the victim. Eventually, I got tired of it, and the bitch started snapping, which is a very true story. I even got suspended for it one time. But anyway, this isn't a It Gets Better story. This is me just telling how my life went. And, no, even straight people have hard lives. I'll just tell you people this, and even those older than me that are having trouble, just do it. Because that's the hard part. Just coming out. I know it's people out there that's just crazy, but a life lived in fear is only half lived. And I'm only 26, baby. I got a lot more living to do. And I'd be damned if I live it in somebody's closet. But but yeah, that's it. And honestly, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I see videos of people doing it, and I've always wanted to do it. So here's my version of, my coming out story. I got plenty of other stories, like, for years now. If you guys want to hear that after this, hit my Instagram, hit my videos and stuff. Let's get some traction going. And tell me what you think. I'll see you guys later. And, love, peace, and chicken grease and all that other stuff. Bye, y'all.